Welcome back to TK Tennis. So today's video is a counter prediction to Nick from Intuitive Tennis, who is picking Jannik Sinner to win the Italian Open. And I think that's going to be wrong. Now, just for a little transparency, Nick and I don't know each other. We've never spoken. I think we know of each other, of course, and I'm going to ride his YouTube coattails a little bit in this video to have the counter prediction. Also, to be forthright, I am actually a bigger fan of Sinner than Alcaraz, but I'm going to pick Alcaraz to win on Sunday in the finals against Sinner. And this is why. And it's going to sound a little bit outrageous. The first thing about this prediction is that, contrary to what you may believe, even though Sinner has been dominating the sport over the past year and is the #1 player in the world, he is not an elite clay court player. How dare I say that Jannik Sinner is not an elite clay court player? What do I mean by that? Well, he just hasn't proven it yet. What most people don't realize is that Jannik Sinner has only won one clay court tournament in his ATP career. And that was back in 2021, I believe, maybe 2022. It was also against Alcaraz, but it was a ATP 250 event. So when I call someone elite, what does that mean? It basically means they've had to have won a Grand Slam before, or at least a Masters 1000. So when it comes to clay court tennis, he only has one title. And sure, he's done incredibly well in many other tournaments, semifinals and so forth. But I don't view him as elite. I view him as a contender for the French Open, but he's certainly not elite yet. He may prove me wrong on Sunday, but as of this moment, I don't think Jannik Sinner is an elite clay court player. As well as he's been playing and how much he dominated Casper Ruud and then also beat Tommy Paul today, I stand by that. Now let's move on to talk about Alcaraz. This is the more important part about this story. And this is where I think Nick gets it wrong. So I have a lot of respect for what Nick does on YouTube for tennis and his points of views and his perspectives on rackets and teaching and many other things, but maybe not so much when it comes to predictions on the Pro Tour. Sorry, have to be truthful about that. But anyway, so here's 4 things that Alcaraz brings to the table that neither Casper Ruud or Tommy Paul have brought to the table. 4 things. The first one, it's not 1, not 2, not 3, and not 4. Each one of these things on alone could be enough to turn the tables and why Alcaraz would win. But the first one is that Alcaraz is faster than anyone that Sinner has played so far, even Tommy Paul. Tommy Paul is very fast and maybe comparable to Alcaraz in terms of outright speed, but in terms of movement and agility, there's no contest. Alcaraz is the best mover on the tour outside of Sinner himself. Those 2 guys are the fastest and the best, smoothest movers on the tour. So Sinner is going to see Alcaraz's speed, something that he hasn't seen yet. And that alone could be enough to turn the table. But 2, the second thing is that Alcaraz can match Sinner power for power. And Alcaraz eats up the kind of pace and the kind of ball that Sinner will be giving him. So Alcaraz's forehand is as good and hits it as hard as anyone, and even Sinner himself. I believe Alcaraz can probably hit more consistently at a higher top level than Sinner. Maybe that's not exactly true, but I think it's certainly equal. So he has the power to push Sinner off the baseline and to make him scramble. And that we all know. And that's the second factor. Now, the third factor is his incredible touch and drop shots. And his touch and drop shots haven't been that fabulous during this tournament. But Alcaraz brings a whole different dimension to this match with his drop shots. And he's going to cause Sinner to become a little bit more uncomfortable. And he hasn't really had to worry about that with either Casper Ruud or Tommy Paul. So that's the third factor, incredible drop shots. And fourth is strategy. Alcaraz knows how to play Sinner and does something that no one else can do against Sinner. and that's put air under the ball and mix up the paces and the heights of the ball. And that's something that Alcaraz knows he has to do because he's done it in the past. If Alcaraz stands toe-to-toe with Sinner and they're hitting low, hard shots, advantage Sinner. And we've seen that in one of his matches in the past where Sinner ran through Alcaraz in like 6-1 in one of the matches, and Alcaraz had to change his strategy. So I give the advantage to Sinner if they're going to go all out, hitting the shots as hard as they can. But that's not what's going to happen on Sunday. At least that's my prediction. Alcaraz knows how to put extra air underneath the ball and give Sinner additional looks. And it's one of the things that Sinner, actually one of the few things that Sinner has trouble with, is those high balls into the corner, high, deep bouncing balls into the corner where he can't quite line up the ball. And it kind of neutralizes Sinner from hitting winners or dictating play. So between Alcaraz's speed and his power and his drop shots and his ability to put a little extra air in the ball into the corners and really stretch out Sinner, where Sinner has to play more of a neutral shot, those are 4 huge factors that make a difference in this match. And if Alcaraz employs that strategy properly on clay, Alcaraz has the advantage. So would I bet on Alcaraz winning? Absolutely not. I think we're talking about a 55% chance for Alcaraz to win versus a 45% chance for Sinner to win. Alcaraz has more experience on clay, is a slightly better mover on slippery surfaces than Sinner is. And that's why I give the advantage to Alcaraz. I actually hope I'm wrong because I'm a much bigger fan of how Jannik Sinner plays the game. I wouldn't say much bigger fan, but I'm certainly a bigger fan of how Jannik Sinner plays the game versus Carlos Alcaraz. So in this prediction, I hope I'm wrong, but I don't think I will be. All right, that's it for today's video. You're slowing me down, stringing the racket. So that's all I have to say. We'll see who's right on Sunday. This is one of the premier, I'd say this is the premier matchup we have left in tennis. It's Alcaraz versus Sinner, and we don't get to see it that often. The last time we saw it was in October of last year in the finals, and prior to that, I believe it was at least 8 months before that. So this matchup of the 2 most exciting players in tennis does not happen very often. So that's it for today's video. Thanks for watching. Please remember to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next days.